welcome to Sober Dad Leadership, where I, Justin Lindsay, also known nicknamed Cap, that's my clown name as well. I talk about living as a sober father in 2025. I spent most of my father life being an alcohol user, part of it being an alcoholic. Still am an alcoholic, but I'm living in recovery. And, things change whenever you're doing things from a sober mindset. I wanted to put some stuff out there for my kids, for other kids, for people who are just wanting to get that sober dad perspective. And so here it is. And I had a really good, fun kind of show planned for this week. Really did. But then we had the Charlie Kirk martyr that happened. I'm not calling it a murder. It was an assassination, and he was martyred. So he was martyr. And then we had September 11th. So we had Charlie Kirk martyr on the 10th, September 11th on the 11th, so Wednesday, Thursday. And it's been a lot of the week kind of in the downs. And I decided that I wanted to talk about grief today. So my fun episode will get moved to next week. This is going to be about grief, because it is important to talk to our kids about grief. Most adults don't know what grief is. We know there's 5 stages of grief, but most people can't name those 5 stages of grief. And so, my daughter lost a friend of hers a few weeks ago, about 2 months ago. And she lost her grandfather a few years ago. And so what I tell my kids and what I believe, and this is true, grief ebbs and flows. Some days, very grief-stricken. Other days, it comes down. It's okay to feel those things. It's okay to be mad. We're going to get into that here in a few minutes as we start going through the stages. But, because it's important in times where you're sad, whether it's you're remembering September 11th, which the world changed on September 12th. If you weren't alive during that time, September 12th, the world was different. If you were born after September 11th, you have no idea what kind of world we had before. It was a much freer world. It seemed a lot happier. Still has some dark moments, but September 10th was a different time. Just like this week, September 9th was a different time. But God understands. If you have a loss that you're mad about, it's okay to be mad at God. I'm just going to say that. And, if you're a Christian like myself, you might have a problem with that statement. But the truth is, God understands. God understands that we're human. He understands our emotions. He understands our feelings. And so if you want to be mad at God, just like when my kids get mad at me, my youngest son, Miles, sometimes he gets so mad at me, he'll say, "I don't like you anymore." He gets in trouble for that. But it doesn't change the way I feel about him. I know the truth. And he comes right back to me and we're fine. Be mad at God. Pray that he helps. Ask for him to comfort you, because he will. It's okay. Now, the 5 stages of grief, we're going to go through those. And I'm going to talk specifically to the Charlie Kirk assassination, even though September 11th and Charlie Kirk happened at the same time. We're going to talk about that because I remember both. Now, denial. In September 11th, when the planes first hit the buildings, I had the same feeling that I had when I first heard about Charlie Kirk getting shot in the throat. No way. This can't be. Somebody shot him with a beat. No, not happening. Now that phase can continue going along as you're going through the other steps. In the anger phase, which happens very closely to that first one, you get mad, you want to start pointing fingers at who did it, you want retribution, you want them to pay, all this stuff. That's the second, anger. You're allowed to be mad. Bargaining. I think this is kind of in where we're at now in the Charlie Kirk situation. Hey, we need to come together. Hey, we need to, put the past behind us and we need to start being friendly. We can start doing those things. There's a but. We also need to start addressing problems and start calling out the things that are making these things happen. We need to start calling those out where they're at. Like when you call people Nazis for 8 years, this is the kind of stuff that people do. Okay? So we got to stop that. So we can bargain. Yeah, we can come together. But, calling all white men evil, straight white men evil, yeah, we're going to have to stop that. Okay? There's a bargain for you. Now, I'm still angry. My denial has kind of moved on a little bit. But I'll bargain with you. Depression. Sad, despair, and withdrawal. And I think this is where a lot of, especially kids, get stuck. This is where a lot of adults get stuck. And I felt this a little bit yesterday. I felt this, my natural instinct was to go back 165 days ago, where I would have picked up a beer or poured a glass of wine or poured a glass of rum. And you sit there and you watch the news and you sip away and, you get a little bit buzzy at the end. And now your anger gets amped up a little bit. Your bargaining gets weird. So depression can go down those roads. Now, kids don't feel comfortable. A lot of times they don't know how to explain what they're feeling. So when it comes to the depression phase, you got to let them know they're going to feel different things, especially if it's somebody close to them. Now, like my kids, they didn't have they weren't alive during September 11th. They don't know who Charlie Kirk was. So, they know something's wrong, but whatever. If it's somebody close to them, you need to tell them, hey, you're going to feel like super sad and you're not going to know why. Or you just feel weird, or you just don't want to do anything, or you don't want to leave your room, and those kinds of things. Those things happen. And it's okay to hang out in your room for a little while. It's okay to be sad. But at some point, sober mom or mom and sober dad are going to come and be like, hey, let's go do something fun. Let's go watch a movie. Let's go for a walk. Let's go play outside. Let's play catch. Time to kind of be with your thoughts and just kind of be alone, to have that depression, sadness phase is okay. But you got to have a plan to move out of it. Because if you get stuck, that's when you start making bad decisions, which can lead to drinking, which can lead to all kinds of bad decisions. Trust me. And then finally, acceptance. Acceptance is where you're pretty much like, yeah, this is where it's at. This is what happened. That grief will still come and go. Grief will come and go in waves, so you might as well learn how to surf. And it will pass. So that's it. That's today's episode on grief from Sober Dad. Kind of my talk to my kids whenever something terrible happens. Is all right there. That's pretty much what I said. And then finally, I'm going to say, I'm adding this to my grief speech that I have for the family. Charlie Kirk said this on one of his last shows. God can and will use evil for good. A lot of people say, why doesn't God step in and just stop it? Why didn't God just stop that bullet? We don't know. But what we do know is that Charlie Kirk was a good man. And we know that he believed in our Lord Jesus Christ. We know that he believed in the importance of being a good father and a good husband. And he believed that we need to speak and we need to have conversations, hard conversations. We need to be able to make our points with logic. We need to be able to listen to other people's points, even if it doesn't have logic. We need to understand that tolerance is okay. Acceptance is not required. And we need to look at those principles, just like the principles that Jesus lived under, just like the principles that Martin Luther King lived under, just like the principles of anybody who has ever peacefully changed the world. And we need to start looking at ourselves and asking, where can we start applying those principles into our lives? And if we can do that, then the message of Charlie Kirk, the message of civil rights leaders from all time will live on. The real rebels are not the ones with guns. The real rebels are the ones that can communicate with a pen, with a phone, and with their words. So, guys, that is Sober Day Leadership. Let me know, how are you doing with navigating your family through grief and sadness and depression? What's your plan, man? Better have one if you don't. If you don't, feel free to share this video. Be happy to do it or happy to be a part of your process. Please like and subscribe, share, comment in the comment section below if you disagree or if you agree with me. We'll love to hear your thoughts. Guys, it is the weekend. Go out and live. If you're a dad, be a sober dad. If you're a mom, be a sober mom. All right, guys. See ya. Thanks. Bye.